Hey guys, and welcome back to this week's episode of From the Desk of Ana Paulina Luna. As you guys know, a ton to cover this week, starting with what's happening in Florida with Hurricane Ian. We'll get into why Governor DeSantis and Joe Biden haven't talked, followed by why Gavin Newsom is refusing to accept responsibility for all the people leaving in droves from California. I wonder what could have caused that. Also, why the United States is essentially funding Ukraine and more. This is From the Desk of Ana Paulina Luna. My name's Ana Paulina Luna. I'm pro-life, pro-God, pro-gun, and anti-globalist. Hey guys, this week's episode is brought to you by Brave Books. As you guys know, right now, our public education system is absolute garbage. What kids are learning is completely crazy. But our friends over at Brave Books have produced conservative and politically, ideologically aligned content, not just for kids, but for their parents as well. As you know, they recently published the book, The Plot Against the King. I wonder who that's about, by our good friend Kash Patel. Make sure you guys check them out at bravebooks.us. Again, that's bravebooks.us. Great kids content, great storylines, and also too, they help sponsor shows like ours. All right, getting right back into what's happening now with hurricane season here in Florida. For the last couple of weeks, we've been really tracking this hurricane that's been forming in the Gulf. And now, of course, it is a massive hurricane that's barreled towards Florida. And you would think that the rest of the country would be on board to support the state of Florida. We know that our local residents have really joined together. We know that local companies, to include Publix, Florida Power and Light, everyone realizes how bad it could be and how bad it is for Tampa Bay area and really Florida as a whole. And now we have this article that recently dropped by Business Insider that shows that Governor DeSantis has yet to receive a phone call from the President of the United States. Yet Biden decided to call multiple mayors here in the area, to include the Clearwater mayor, who is a Republican, and two Democrat mayors in St. Petersburg and then also Tampa, yet he refuses to call the governor himself. What could it be? It's probably due to the fact that Governor DeSantis recently showcased the Democrat Party's platform in hypocrisy after he sent many illegal migrants to sanctuary city Martha's Vineyard. We all know that that was a pretty viral topic for the last couple of weeks. People are still asking questions, but the fact is that it showed America something that we've been saying here on this show for a very long time. The fact is that the Democrat Party and platform has been using Hispanics to really further an open border agenda that they themselves don't even agree with. Again, I will show you guys the content. We could clip it here of Barack Obama previously saying, don't come here, you'll get hurt in the process, talking about illegal immigrants, only to pivot on that platform in 2016 as you saw the rise in the Hispanic voting bloc to now the largest voting bloc in the country. But what Democrats won't tell you is it's not just Hispanics that are legally entering this country through the southern border. There have been people found from Africa, people from Europe, people from not just South America, but also to people that are on the known terrorist watch list. So what they try to do is they try to brand Hispanic Americans as being all Mexican, which is simply false. And then, of course, they pivot. Now, I really want to explain something to you about this, right? We had these people that were coming here. We had Governor DeSantis, who rightfully relocated them to some of these places like sanctuary cities that the Democrats literally pivoted and campaigned on in 2016 and in 2020, right? They were saying everyone's welcome here. We don't believe that anyone's illegal. That might be the case unless you're in Martha's Vineyard, of which then you have these people literally using, I don't know how to say this, they are literally using brown people. They use them as political clout, political currency, and then they ship them off because they don't want to deal with them. The thing that we should be asking ourselves, not just as conservatives, but as Americans, is, are these people, right, are the Democrat Party platform, do they genuinely care about what's happening with the humanitarian crisis at our southern border? And the answer is, I don't believe that they do. I think that this is really sad that the Democrat Party has basically used minorities in the way that they have. But it's not just the Hispanic demographic that they've done that to. You can find many clips from Larry Elder, from Candace Owens, from Brandon Tatum talking about what's happened with the Black demographic. Now, the fact is that right now we currently have a really big problem in this country, a big problem with human trafficking, a problem with illegal immigration. And the fact is that an open border hurts people on both sides. But if there's one thing that Governor DeSantis did, was he showed America, and also to Governor Abbott, showed America that the Democrats really don't care about illegals, that they simply use them. And when you bring them to places like Martha's Vineyard, who are arguably one of the wealthiest parts in this country, for them to say that they don't have the resources to take care of these people and to call in the National Guard to have them relocated should only show you that these people want to signal in a social justice form that they care about people, that they want to take care of them, and that their policies work. Yet when it really comes down to it, we all know that that's a farce. Really, I'd like to congratulate Governor DeSantis on pointing out to the United States and frankly the world the hypocrisy that we're currently seeing out of the administration. Now, it didn't come without a price. As you know, referencing this Business Insider article, apparently Biden doesn't want to talk to DeSantis. And so that's extremely alarming, especially because here in the state of Florida, we have to, especially given the nature of this hurricane, ensure that residents here in the state of Florida, especially in the region affected by Hurricane Ian, are given fair access and have adequate ability to communicate on the national platform, pending that we do need help in this area. And so it's really alarming and concerning that you're seeing the Biden administration refusing to set politics aside in order to help Americans. But this isn't the first time that they've done that. We also know that they withheld Regeneron, which was a treatment for COVID-19. That's something that was arguably censored by the mainstream media after COVID-19. And they did it because they did not want red states to perform better than blue states in the COVID response. And that's frankly something that should be, I'd say, any president running for office or any person holding office should be held accountable for that. But of course, we know right now, because we don't have the majority, that this administration has been given a pass on a lot of things, not just COVID response, not just tanking the economy, not just what's happening with our southern border and their exploitation of illegals for their own sick political agenda, but also to what we are now currently seeing is that they are using it as a reason to basically not help Floridians when we need it the most. So I really do hope that they do the right thing. I hope that they talk to Governor DeSantis, but we're not going to hold our breath. Good thing is we have incredible local leadership. We have an incredible governor. We have an incredible lieutenant governor and a really good response team set up in place. So we don't need their help. But I mean, goodness gracious. The fact is that they're doing that, and it's just absolutely not acceptable. But it's not going to just end on a negative note, right? I want to show you this video that we actually found on TikTok. This is the local response from people within the community, obviously paid workers that are coming in town though. But look at the level of excitedness and response that they have just to simply help out fellow Floridians. That is what it's all about, guys. This video right here, the fact is that these people are stepping up to the plate. Obviously, it's not going to be a good thing for anyone. Here in Florida, we stick together. So Florida Strong is definitely something we should get trending and hashtagging. But thank you guys so much for coming out, for obviously posting it. And as this storm and hurricane continues to progress, we'll make sure that you guys stay attuned as to how to help out. Real quick, some tips and tricks, not just for now, but for the future for hurricane prep. Make sure that if you are a Floridian, this is not obviously financial advice, but it is something that I do. Make sure that you guys are recording everything that you have in your house in case that you have to file a claim with your insurance companies, whether it's your valuables at home, your property before the hurricane happens, also to your personal assets, whether it might be your vehicles, and also to ensure that you have extra copies, whether it's digitized, of documents that you might need. Obviously, no one can anticipate the outcome of what a hurricane's going to be, but it's really important that you guys are at least doing that so that you guys can recover after the fact. And then something that we're doing, make sure that you guys are freezing water bottles. Obviously, there's always a concern if you guys can't afford a generator, if you don't have one, of what happens with drinking water, and then also to ensuring that things are staying cold. If you have frozen water bottles and you have a cooler and your fridge does turn off, you can obviously use those not just as ice, but then they also too will stay cooler for way longer in case you guys have to move them or just keep them where they're at so that you guys have a fresh supply. So make sure that you guys are staying safe. Obviously, what's happening with Hurricane Ian, we wish you guys the best of luck. Obviously, we're hunkered down here in the Tampa Bay area, so we're not going anywhere. But it's important that you guys are also always maintaining and checking on your neighbors, and also to those that might just be a little bit older in age and might not be able to get around as easy as we can. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our social media at Real Anna Paulina. And I think we actually might be getting a drive together here depending on what happens with this disaster. Okay, so to segue, we have on the polar opposites of the country, Governor DeSantis, Exhibit A, on how to deal and respond to national disasters, as well as regulate an economy and have a booming economy at that. And then we have example B, Governor Gavin Newsom over in California, who refuses to accept why people are leaving his state. Now, according to Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom, people are fleeing California not because of the high taxes, not because of the unconstitutional COVID and vaccine mandates, not because of the record homelessness. Let's not forget what's happening in San Francisco, where you literally pay an arm and a leg and you have people defecating on the streets. It's not because of the millions of illegal people receiving better healthcare benefits and perks than people that are actually paying, tax-paying citizens, that is. It's not because of the rolling blackouts due to heat waves. And it's definitely not because of the sales and the banning of gas-powered cars by 2035, when California doesn't even have the infrastructure in place right now to keep the lights on. No, Gavin Newsom is saying that people are fleeing his state for red states like Idaho, Texas, Arizona, and Florida because of course, the big bad orange boogeyman, President Trump. As you all know, the Democrats like to constantly blame everything on Trump.
More people leaving California for Texas or leaving Texas for California?
Well, we lost about 182,000 folks in the last census.
But how do you explain that against the backdrop of those very remarkable statistics you just cited?
Many factors, and there's been two deep analysis that drives the number one factor. The vast majority, almost the entire amount, impacted because of the visa policies in the Trump administration. I mean, our formula for success is getting first-round draft choice around the rest of the world. I mean, we're as dumb as we want to be. This whole damn border debate is made up. It's made up. Where's Congress? Where the hell are they? They haven't done their job.
I'm very serious. It's very likely that we might hear somewhere down the line after what happens with the hurricane here in Florida, someone's going to try to blame Trump for it, right? But we know right now that Gavin Newsom is absolutely holding President Trump apparently responsible for why people are fleeing his states. You know, people are fleeing California, I would argue, because it's literally not affordable to live. Obviously, most people can't just up and buy new cars because they're saying that they have to, right? And by 2035, you're not going to be able to buy anything gas-powered vehicle-wise. No, people are fleeing California because of visa policies in the Trump administration. By the way, I don't know if Newsom knows this, but in most states, to include places like Florida, you actually have to, there are more strict hiring policies in regards to ensuring that people aren't being hired illegally. And I can say that it's very interesting that Newsom's policies are saying this, although apparently it came out that his in-laws, okay, so you had Kenneth Seibel Jr. and Judah Seibel actually donated $5,000 each, or I think it was a collective donation of $5,000 to Friends of Ron DeSantis PAC in April. So that makes for a very awkward Thanksgiving. I just wanted you to think about this for a minute. His in-laws moved to Florida back in April and loved it so much that they gave to Governor Ron DeSantis PAC for re-election. That has to make for a very, very awkward Thanksgiving. People who are still close to the little governor and power center of California politics. Also remember, I don't know if you guys know this, Gavin Newsom is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. I don't know if you guys know that, but they literally love Florida so much, don't agree with the terrible leadership in California that they moved. And now they're giving to Governor DeSantis' reelection, which, by the way, he's going to win big. Don't let the polls fool you. I know that they're trying to push Charlie Crist. And then obviously we just saw that Charlie Crist actually just apparently left his supporters in the rain, didn't even show up to an event that he and Val Demings were scheduled for yesterday or 2 days ago, which is, if I were me, I would be voting for someone like that. Remember, this is the same man that said he was a independent, a Republican, and now he apparently wants to be the Democrat governor of Florida. But according to polling, he's not going to make it that far. But that does bring me to my next topic. As of right now, Bloomberg is projecting that the estimated cost of Ian after everything is said and done is going to be about $70 billion in repairs. Okay, so that's a significant amount of money. I'm going to argue that it's not going to just be the state of Florida that's going to absorb that from local taxpayers. It's going to be that we're going to need help from DC in these recovery efforts. It's very uncomfortable that Biden does not want to work and communicate with Governor DeSantis because Biden is frankly boo-boo lip that Governor DeSantis called him out, which Governor DeSantis should have done. But the fact is that while we are basically going to have to absorb that price tag and potentially wait, but eventually hopefully get help from DC in regards to some of these recovery efforts here in Florida, at the same time, Congress literally just voted to send billions of dollars in more support to Ukraine. So what we're finding is it's no longer about, and this is sent from senators this week, they proposed basically an additional $12 billion in aid to Ukraine, which includes $3 billion in direct military training equipment, weapons to help fend off Russian advances. But it doesn't just stop there. There's another $4.5 billion in economic support for Ukraine. And basically it will help maintain operations of the Ukrainian government, including enable the government to maintain a macroeconomic stability and provide basic citizen services. So we are basically here paying taxes so that people in Ukraine can have a functioning government. In my opinion, we have gone above and beyond what we need to for these people. We should not continue to send millions and definitely not billions of dollars to a country that is doing literally nothing for us. I mean, there's nothing that the Ukrainian government is helping with the United States. And the fact is we've gone above and beyond. It's time for Ukraine to start lobbying their other friends in Europe instead of the United States. It's not our responsibility to support the government of Ukraine, which is now what's happening. And of course, a lot of this is not being highlighted in the media because we have so much going on here at home, but it needs to be. So remember, Congress, the power of the purse, Senate, power of the purse. Why on earth are we continuing to send our money overseas when it's not benefiting us at all? It's not things that we should be doing. Okay, so to wrap it up, we thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of From the Desk of Anna Paulina Luna. If you guys will continue to follow us on all of our social media at Real Anna Paulina. And a special thank you again to Brave Books. Make sure you guys check them out at bravebooks.us. Also, make sure if you guys see a Florida man or woman in action, want us to cover something special, or want us to answer questions that you might have for us, make sure that you guys drop those to us at Real Anna Paulina on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Parler, Getter, you name it, we have it. Make sure you guys are following us, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll be back next week with more updates from the desk of Anna Paulina Luna.